Arthamulau hi dharma kamau. Over 2000 years ago, Chanakya wrote this in the ancient Arthashastra. It means dharma and desires, that's morality and all activities, are rooted in wealth. In simple terms, without wealth and financial stability, even morality collapses in society. Your purpose collapses and even your freedom disappears. And yet, in the modern world, you've been taught to create money and build wealth in a completely wrong way. You've been told work harder, earn more, save a little, and somehow everything will fall into place. But look at reality. People who are working harder, people who are earning more, are dissatisfied, are misaligned, and in many cases, hard work does not translate to financial stability. People are stuck, anxious, and financially unstable. Why? Because we as society do not understand certain fundamental principles of wealth that the ancient rishis and ancient scholars understood. Chanakya simply did not teach how to make money, but he designed a system to create wealth, multiply it, protect it, and sustain it for generations. A system so powerful that it built one of the greatest empires the world has ever seen, the ancient Mauryan Empire. But today, most people unknowingly break these principles. They don't understand dharma, and their lives are going in so many wrong ways because of it. And this slowly destroys wealth and financial stability and life itself in many ways. So by the end of this important video, I will break down the 7 core principles of wealth creation and sustenance from the ancient Arthashastra and Chanakya Niti by Kautilya, that is rebuilt for modern professionals and entrepreneurs. So that you just don't make money but build real stable compounding wealth without chaos, without shortcuts, and without losing your inner alignment and dharma. And somewhere within these 7 principles, you will clearly understand where you are getting stuck and what you need to work on in your life. Because once you watch this video fully, you will never be able to see money and wealth the same way ever again. Now, before we go ahead with the wealth principles, we need to establish the right foundation, and that is about understanding money and wealth for what it is. First, we need to remove this inner conflict between material and spiritual. I suffered because of this conflict in my own life for years on end. I was working hard with my profession for years, but I was unable to attract financial freedom because somewhere I believed that money is not spiritual. Later, when I came to understand Vedanta and the deeper truths of reality, I began understanding what money is. And once my inner conflicts were clear, I began attracting wealth and abundance very, very easily, because the world is full of opportunities. But because of conditioning, because our parents said something, because society said something, we unconsciously believe so many things. The Raja Chanakya is one of the greatest examples of how you can be wealthy and be in a place of power, yet be spiritually aligned and liberated. So, this is a false notion that society is carrying, the split between being wealthy and being spiritual. That is why we teach within Adhvaitha conscious society to build the abundance of a king and the awareness of a monk. You can be successful, wealthy, and yet be spiritual. This is the understanding with which we need to begin this journey for everything else to work. With this, let's come to the 7 core principles. The first principle is to stay active, and this is also about value creation. So if you want to make money and if you want to build wealth, understand that you need to be active in the marketplace. You need to involve yourself in economic activities, and an economic activity is nothing but value creation and value exchange. If you offer something of value to the society and the market, in turn what you get is money. It's as simple as that. So first, we must stay active. We must think about how we can create value and how we can stay active within the market so that we can generate wealth, money, and abundance. Kautilya said, wealth comes from effort and activity and collapses through inaction. So the practical takeaway here is that if you want to build wealth, don't sit idle. Create, build, deploy your capital, invest, involve yourself in the activity of wealth creation and value creation. Number two, build multiple streams. Chanakya talks about having multiple sources of income for a treasury to run these ancient empires. And the same applies to each and every one of us. We should never be dependent on a single source of income. If you are a professional or an entrepreneur, think about different streams of income that you can accumulate for yourself. At ACS, for professionals and entrepreneurs, we speak of building 9 streams of income for someone who wants to build wealth. So today, after you watch this video, one important action item for you is to take a notepad and a pen and figure out the 9 sources of income that you can create for yourself. I know immediately your mind will say it's not possible. Just stretch your mind. Think about all the ways in which you can add value to the world. We do this at ACS in so many ways. For example, in our case, we publish books, we publish resources, we have our YouTube channel. So think about different things that you can do. Maybe you can write a book, maybe you can teach someone about a specific skill that you have, or you can take a second job, or you can start a business on the side. Think about staying active and value creation, and think about multiple ways in which you can add value. You need to come up with 9 sources of income on paper at least. Then you can spend the next few years building some of these streams so that you become stable and free. The third principle is about creating infrastructure, systems, and distribution. Now, wealth in a lot of ways comes down to building systems. When it comes to the ancient empires, Chanakya spoke of building the infrastructure first, the roads, the bridges, the drainages, and the marketplaces, so that when the infrastructure and the distribution network is strong, then wealth creation can happen seamlessly. Similarly, for your life, think about the systems that you can build. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to first build the distribution for your product. You need to start thinking about the channels through which you can build your network, your influence, and your distribution, so that you have a continuous stream of people who are interested in what you're doing. For entrepreneurs, this is distribution, logistics, operations, digital infrastructure, and repeatable delivery systems. If you are a professional, think about systems that you can build to invest your money, to compound your money, to generate income in different ways, and so on. The fourth principle is more about compliance. This might be a boring subject when it comes to taxation, when it comes to being compliant with the laws of the land, but this is a very important one if you wish to build wealth on the long term. We can never build wealth and we can never stay active with the economic activity for long if we are not compliant. In the ancient times, Kautilya favored fairness, stability, compliance, and avoiding heavy taxation, and he also supported incentives that increase production and capital formation. But as professionals and entrepreneurs, we need to focus on staying compliant. We need to, of course, pay the minimum amount of tax as legally possible to protect our interests as we build these organizations and businesses, but we need to do things legally within the boundaries of law. And if you look at it, each of these principles build on each other. For compliance also, you need to create systems, and by creating systems, you can also build the multiple streams of income, and for everything to happen, you need to stay active with respect to the economic activities. The fifth principle is about saving. Again, this is something that we all understand that we must do, but we don't do it. Chanakya speaks about how there are different seasons, and some seasons are unpredictable. In the ancient empires, wars used to erupt at random times, and the kingdom needed to be prepared. And for our lives, we need to be prepared. We need to consciously take at least 10% of our savings, and we need to allocate it to a fund which is sort of our safety net, through which we need not worry a lot about our finances, our family, our health, and so on. And the sixth principle is a very important one, which is about knowledge as the hidden wealth. Chanakya Niti clearly says that learning is like Kamadhenu, a desire fulfilling cow. Through the right learning, you can attain anything. You can attain wealth, you can attain money, you can attain freedom, and so on. Knowledge is a hidden treasure. So, skills, judgment, negotiation ability, systems thinking, and financial literacy are not soft assets, but they are the real compounding engine behind long term wealth. So, always focus on upskilling yourself as a professional, as an entrepreneur. There are certain foundational skills that you need to learn, whether it's communication, whether it's leadership, and so on. But there are other skills. There are advanced skills to change your life, like conscious creation. And there are skills with respect to AI and how to deploy it in your business or in your profession. So, constantly upskilling yourself is a very important aspect of wealth creation that Chanakya taught. And finally, let's come to the seventh principle, that is dharma. In this regard, dharma is about the moral foundation. Chanakya says, reject the money which comes from the wrong foundation, which comes from immorality, by taking advantage of others, by misusing the laws and the principles. Because even if we create money from that space, it is karmically not good and it is not sustainable. At some point in time, we will have to pay the price for it. So instead, have the right foundation of dharma, understand morality, and begin to create wealth from value creation through proper economic activity, by staying compliant and by building systems. So the core formula is create value relentlessly, diversify your cash flow, build systems, manage the cash flow and the compliance as well, keep reserves, stay ethical, and keep learning and keep evolving your identity and your skill stack. That is how you will be able to build long-term sustainable wealth for yourself and your family.